I'm from Belgium. So in Belgium, we have nothing. We used to have agriculture, but now it's all paved. I'm John Beghin, also a faculty in the Ag-Econ department and with the Yeutter Institute.
John is the Michael Yanney Chair in International Trade and Finance with UNL's Department of Agricultural Economics. He's also the department's faculty chair with the Clayton Yeutter Institute of International Trade and Finance. I'm Geithner Simmons conducting the interview. I'm a senior writer with IE in our communications. John joined the UNL faculty in 2019 after holding distinguished positions in agricultural economics at Iowa State and North Carolina State. Throughout his career, John has held various appointments and worked as a consultant for a range of organizations and private clients. John has published more than 100 articles and book chapters. John, in regard to your research work, your studies have included detailed analysis of non-tariff measures, such as sanitary and phytosanitary standards. You've identified weaknesses in current methodologies for analyzing them. What are some of the key points your analysis provides about understanding non-tariff measures and their welfare effects?
Historically, non-tariff measures have been studied as non-tariff barriers and were treated as equivalent to tariffs or taxes at the border in pure impediments to trade. And then there is an increasing recognition that actually some of those measures are legitimate measures, and that you have to, in a sense, distinguish part of the measures that are truly protectionist from the one that address market imperfection like environmental externalities or informational asymmetries. And so most of the work I've done is along those lines. I'll spare the details, but that's what it is.
Another focus of your research is that you studied consumer attitudes towards novel foods that are created through techniques such as gene editing. The overall term is new plant engineering techniques. What are some central findings from your analysis?
This was a collaboration with French researchers, and we did a comparative analysis between French consumers' attitudes and Midwest consumers. So what we find is that within each country there is a large heterogeneity. So some consumers value some attributes coming from gene editing or the new techniques. For instance, longer shelf life or less bruising in fruits and things like that. And some consumers, in a sense, don't value those. And so that's within each country. And then we found a dramatic difference between, say, French consumers and the Midwest consumers we talked to, where the French tend to be much more skeptical about technology embodied into fruits and vegetables or even meats.
When you talk to graduate students and advanced undergraduates, John, what are some recommendations you could give them about specific analytical methods or areas of focus they need to master if they're going to conduct advanced research relating to economics and agricultural trade?
I would say the strength of economics is being able to analyze real-world issues, and so I encourage students to read the Wall Street Journal or industry publications or USDA publications to really focus on looking at finding emerging problems and real problems rather than being elegant. And then the strength is really in the applied economics area, I would say, where you apply tools to analyze those concrete issues.
We're doing this interview in early 2025 as the second Trump administration has launched aggressive trade measures and public attention on trade matters is greatly heightened. Plus, we live in Nebraska, a state with wide-ranging connections to the global marketplace, especially in the ag sector. Given that background, talk about the enduring importance of trade studies and so the abiding relevance of the Yeutter Institute and its educational mission.
Nebraska has few people and a lot of production capacity in agriculture, in light industries, and so we're naturally export-oriented. And so it's important for young Nebraskans to, in a sense, have a good awareness of the global market condition in which they are, despite, I would say, the current regime of trying to make America great again and being a closer economy than we have been. But for Nebraska, really, this is not the solution. And so I think students through the Yeutter Institutes learn, in a sense, to navigate, analyze, and be proficient in this global market situation.
The Institute stands out for its multidisciplinary approach with instructional contributions from agricultural economics, law, business, and policy, drawing on the example set by Clayton Yeutter himself. Talk about the value that the Institute's multidisciplinary approach has for students.
Yeah, I think the multidisciplinary approach within the Institute is very natural. Lawyers and economists and ag economists tend to think alike, I would say, or more concerned about property rights and about impediment to transactions. Scarcity, and so I think that it has worked very well in the Institute, where I think lawyers and economists have at least some overlapping interest and concerns.
The Institute has faculty chairs from the Agricultural Economics Department, the College of Law, and the College of Business, working at the strategic planning level with Director Jill O'Donnell and her staff. You're the faculty chair from the Ag Econ Department. Interdisciplinary coordination doesn't always work well in academia, but at the Yeutter Institute, the operational culture across academic disciplines for planning and visioning has been constructive. What are some of the factors behind that positive working relationship at the Institute? And how would you describe the long-term importance of maintaining that multidisciplinary collaboration at the Institute?
I think we're all mature members in the leadership team, and so there is this awareness that you need good economic analytical skills, but you functioning in a policy and political and legal environment and institutional environment. And I think all disciplines and Jill's with more the policy aspect, in a sense, combine into a very realistic and, I would say, lucid view of what international trade is about. And so I think that will be the continuation.
The Yeutter Institute Student Fellows are an annual cohort from a range of majors. They step deeply into the study of international trade. John, talk about the general concept behind the Student Fellows and how the Institute works to maximize the educational value for each Student Fellow cohort.
The Fellow program is really a selective program where, in a sense, we as faculty member have access to the best, I would say, student and the brightest and most motivated students in UNL campus. And so that makes our job, in a sense, much easier and engaging. And so the students learn to write a briefing paper and take a deep dive on one specific topic. They also meet with the faculty to discuss applied trade policy issues. And so I think they get really immersed into the real life trade dynamics, and so it's excellent exposure for them. So.
The Institute's instruction helps students link the trade fundamentals they study in the classroom to real-world issues, which deepens the students' understanding. Talk a bit about how the Institute helps students pursue research projects that connect directly to real-world trade concerns that countries or companies are confronting.
Yeah, so there are many dimensions there, many examples. So I can take the first one. So I had, for 4 years, I did the summer research camp co-sponsored by Cargill. And so we would analyze potential new markets for Cargill. And so each student had a commodity or a market, and to study for about 10 to 12 weeks. For instance, we looked at biologicals, so those are the natural pesticide types of products. We also look at algae as a source of renewable energy. And so students learn to, look around the planet at what's happening, what is emerging in those prospective fields, for instance. And so that's one example. Another example is within my course, for instance, students learn to hedge foreign exchange risk between Europe and US in ag and food transactions.
John, the Institute provides additional value through measures such as scholarships, internships, and other opportunities outside the classroom. Talk a bit about those additional aspects for students.
Yes, so even many of our course offerings are very experiential, and then beyond that, we really help students with internship search. So we have several awards. I think we have a Nelson Award. We have an award as well from the Institute. We have the Yeutter also award. And so students really are being, on a selective basis, students are being helped and assisted in terms of finding those internship and also apply for them and secure those internships.
Speaking of Jill O'Donnell, the director of the Institute, Jill's a native Nebraskan who has wide-ranging experience in trade policy. Jill has headed the Institute from its beginnings. Highlight some of the central ways that Jill's leadership and vision have helped the Institute move forward.
Yes, so Jill really came when the Institute was a concept on paper. And so she had to build the institute from the ground up. And so I think collectively also we decided that the focus on undergraduate students was the first and most important element. And so that became the impulse behind creating a trade minor, international trade minor, and developing courses in the various departments. So that's one aspect. The second aspect I would say is that the Institute has done very well creating policy conferences and policy events where current trade issues are being debated. And so I think those two elements have really created a success story. In the future, so I'll be on the sidelines, but I'll be interested to see how Jill and my successor and the current team take the Institute to the next level, developing, I would say, a research profile that's more visible, and potentially granting and also looking at graduate education.
John, a final question. You will retire at the end of this semester here in the spring of 2025. What are some rewards you've most appreciated as an economist who's authored numerous analytical studies over your career and advanced economic understanding?
Well, life as an academic is a very privileged life, and so I'm very, aware of that privilege, and I've enjoyed it, and hopefully not abused it. And so I think the biggest reward was to work with bright students and bright people and motivated students and colleagues. So.
So joining me on stage for our panel discussion are Dr. John Beghin, who is the brand new Mike Yanney Chair of International Trade and Finance,
who is a very accomplished economist.
Department of Agricultural Economics here at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
You can look at his CV and see a very long list of widely cited publications.
Today is officially John's second day on the job.
We're very fortunate that John joined UNL.
So we're happy to have him here with us tonight, and please go easy on him.
So we're very pleased to have you here.
Well, thanks for inviting me and taking a chance with the new professor. I hope I won't say anything too crazy.
John, thanks so much.
Yeah. Okay. We're done.